Nicola and Karen were best friends who lived close to one another on the Moulsecoombe estate in the north of Brighton, but who attended different schools. At around 3:30 p.m. on the 9th of October, 1986, the two returned home from school before going out to play. At around 5 p.m., Susan Fellows saw her daughter and Karen playing with a roller boot, the last time she saw her daughter alive. When seen by a 14-year-old acquaintance near a parade of shops in the Lewis Road area, the girls were told to go home, as their parents would become worried. Nicola reportedly told Karen, "Come on, let's go over to the park," referring to Wild Park where they were not allowed. At around 6:30 p.m., the girls were seen near a police box on Lewis Road, where Bishop was also seen near and wearing what appeared to be a light blue top. That same day, Bishop had gone to Nicola's house to speak to a lodger who lived there. Nicola told Bishop to go away and called his teenage girlfriend a slag. When the girls failed to return home by their bedtime, their parents panicked. Karen's mother, Michelle, made a 999 call. A search party of around 200 police and neighbors was organized. A helicopter was brought in to help search Wild Park. Bishop joined the search, claiming his terrier Misty was a highly trained tracker dog and insured for £17,000. The bodies of the girls were found in Wild Park by searchers Kevin Rowland and his friend Matthew Marchant on the afternoon of the 10th of October, 1986. The girls' bodies were found hidden in a makeshift den in the park. Both had been strangled and sexually assaulted. Bishop fell under suspicion due to his close involvement in the search. When the bodies of the girls were found, Bishop was close by and ran towards the scene with a police constable. However, the officer recalled that Bishop did not get close enough to even see them properly. Bishop's story was littered with inconsistencies. He told detectives that on the evening in question he had gone to Moulsecoombe because he intended to steal a car from the nearby University of Sussex campus. He also claimed he had gone to a newsagent to buy a newspaper, but realized he had no money. Bishop told detectives he planned to see his teenage girlfriend that evening but failed to turn up because he bought some cannabis and went home instead. He also tailored his story to fit the evidence, claiming he had felt the girls' necks for a pulse after finding them dead, to explain any potential exchange of trace evidence. Due to the series of inconsistencies, Bishop was arrested on suspicion of murder on the 31st of October. First arrest and trial in 1987. Bishop first became the center of media attention in October, 1986, when he was arrested on suspicion of the murders. However, he was acquitted on both rape and murder charges at his trial in December, 1987, at Lewes Crown Court after 2 hours deliberation by the jury. Bishop was ultimately acquitted, and later sold his story as a wrongfully accused person to the News of the World for £15,000. The acquittal was later attributed to a series of blunders in the prosecution's case. The pathologist and forensic investigation team failed to record the temperatures of the bodies and therefore could not accurately state a time of death. At the trial, the prosecution suggested the girls were killed between 6:15 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. Without scientific evidence to back up the time of the murders, the prosecution could not challenge Bishop's alibis on the night of the murders. Though the girls were fatally strangled, neither measurements of hand marks around their necks or fingerprints left by the strangler were taken. Forensic scientists did not analyze blood discovered on Karen's underwear. A key piece of the prosecution's case rested on the recovery of a blue Pinto brand sweatshirt. The top was found close to the railway line of Moulsecoombe station. Police believed Bishop discarded the top after attacking and killing the girls and were confident the clothing held a cache of forensic clues. The police did not properly preserve the evidence, allowing Bishop's defense team to cast doubt on the reliability of the material. Under questioning, Bishop denied that the sweatshirt belonged to him, but his girlfriend, Jennifer Johnson, alleged the clothing was Bishop's. Prosecution hoped this would undermine Bishop's credibility and portray him as a liar who was trying to distance himself from a crucial piece of evidence. However, at the trial Johnson changed her story, telling the jury she had never seen the top before. Johnson also gave statements to defense counsel alleging that she had never made her witness statement confirming Bishop's ownership of the sweatshirt, and that it had been fabricated by the police and her initials forged. The judge, Justice Sheeman, directed the jury that unless they were sure first that the girls were dead by 6:30 p.m. they should acquit. The prosecution believed that the girls were killed between 5:15 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. However, witnesses stated they saw the girls alive at 6:30 p.m. and Bishop leaving Wild Park at 6:30 p.m. Bishop was convicted in December, 1990, of a similar attack on another Brighton girl. He was found guilty of the kidnapping, molestation and attempted murder of a 7-year-old girl in Whitehawk 10 months earlier and was sentenced to at least 14 years before eligible for release. Other suspects. Nicola's father, Barry Fellows, was arrested in 2009 at his home in Ellesmere Port, Cheshire, on suspicion of conspiracy to rape his daughter. Douglas Judd was also arrested on suspicion of rape. A spokeswoman for the Sussex Police said the investigation into sexual abuse allegations was unrelated to the ongoing murder inquiry, and both men were eventually released without charge. Bishop's girlfriend later assaulted police when they arrested him for the subsequent attack following his murder acquittals, and told them the true killer was the father of one of the victims. This was later described by a judge as a disgraceful and unfounded rumor started in the News of the World which, she was, happy to repeat as he jailed her for lying at the original trial. Legislative change and new evidence. Double jeopardy rules had seemed to eliminate any possibility that Bishop might one day face a new trial for the murders, but new legislation in 2005 meant that a criminal could face a new trial for a crime if substantial new evidence came to light. In September 2006, the High Court decided that there was not enough evidence for Bishop to face a second trial for the murders. Eurofins Forensic Services was engaged, the same forensics team that helped bring the killers of Stephen Lawrence to justice. Senior scientific advisor Roy Green at Eurofins was asked in August 2012 to re-examine the evidence and recovered a 1 billion to 1 DNA match linking Bishop to the discarded sweatshirt. A taping from Karen's left forearm was also found to contain Bishop's DNA. On the 10th of May 2016, however, a man, initially not named for legal reasons, was arrested. In May 2016, Bishop was removed from his cell at Frankland Prison in County Durham and taken to the local police station, where he was arrested for the murders of Karen and Nicola. In December 2017, the Court of Appeal ordered quashing the 1987 acquittals and called for a second jury trial for Bishop. On the 2nd of February 2018, the Press Association reported that Bishop was to stand trial at the Old Bailey accused of the murder of the two girls killed in Brighton in 1986. The trial was scheduled for the 15th of October 2018. Bishop was charged and pleaded not guilty. On the 10th of December 2018, he was found guilty of murder. 2018 trial. Prosecutor Brian Altman QC told the jury the case against Bishop was not just based on his attempt to kill another child in a similar manner, but on other compelling evidence. He explained significant part of the inquiry had been to re-evaluate various areas of scientific work that were performed for the purposes of the 1987 trial but through the lens of modern-day techniques. DNA profiling, which although available in 1986 and 1987 was then in its infancy. The jury was told that in 2014 samples, taken from the left forearm of one of the victims in 1986, had been re-examined in the hope of finding traces of DNA. This yielded skin flakes which were subjected to ultra-modern profiling techniques, to produce a result that was 1 billion times more likely if Bishop's DNA was present than if it was absent. Bishop suggested that Nicola's father, Barry, was to blame, telling the jury the police spent 32 years building a case against the wrong man. Bishop was not in court every day for his 9-week trial and complained to the judge about feeling suicidal over his temporary stay at Belmarsh, requesting his return to Frankland. At the 2018 trial, the prosecution put forward a different timeline. Altman presented evidence that the girls were alive at 6:30 p.m. and that Bishop returned to Wild Park. Defense witnesses at the 1987 trial returned as prosecution witnesses in 2018. At this trial, Altman argued the forensic samples taken as tapings in 1986 were so carefully handled by the police and preserved by scientists that he could present them as a time capsule to prove Bishop's guilt. On the 10th of December 2018, after a 9-week trial, a jury of 7 men and 5 women returned a guilty verdict after 2.5 hours of deliberation. On the 11th of December 2018, Bishop received 2 life sentences with a minimum of 36 years in prison. Further criminal action. In May 2021, Jennifer Johnson, Bishop's girlfriend at the time of the murders, was found guilty of perjury and perverting the course of justice, having admitted she lied about the sweatshirt in the original trial. She was remanded in custody to await sentencing. On the 19th of May, Mr. Justice Fraser sentenced Johnson to 6 years in prison, stating that her crimes were at the most serious end of the scale. Johnson did not attend the sentence hearing, having refused to do so. She is currently imprisoned in HMP Bronziefield, Britain's highest security prison for women. Russell Bishop. Russell Bishop, the 9th of February 1966 to the 20th of January 2022, was an English convicted child abductor, child molester and murderer, sentenced to life imprisonment for the murders of Fellows and Hadaway. Former friend Jeff Caswell, who used to go fishing with Bishop, described him as a habitual liar. Caswell said, "He was a typical lad around town that time, 1980s. He'd grown a moustache and he had this car he'd race everywhere and he was always telling lies, trying to big himself up. He was only around 5 inches tall and weighed around 8 stone, and I think he suffered from little man syndrome. He was always telling porkies about this and that. He was also a thief. He'd break into cars and he'd steal stuff. He had been a roofer but was going nowhere really. Bishop's father was arrested but not charged for the unsolved 1978 murder of Margaret Frame, who was raped and murdered in Stanmer Park less than 2 miles from Brighton's Wild Park. Bishop died from cancer on the 20th of January, 2022, at the age of 55. He had been rushed to hospital from HMP Frankland in County Durham after his condition deteriorated. Early life. Russell Bishop grew up in a family with his parents and his 4 brothers. His mother, Sylvia, an internationally renowned dog trainer, was described in court as domineering. After educational problems and dyslexia, Bishop was sent away at age 15 to a special needs school, St Mary's Horham, in Maynards Green, East Sussex. He ran away and hitchhiked home to Brighton. At the time of the murders of Nicola Fellows and Karen Hadaway, Bishop, who was 20 years old, was working as a roofer and living in a ground-floor flat in the Hollingdean area of Brighton. Criminal history. Bishop was fined £200 for burglary in 1984. He also stole car radios and hot-wired vehicles. Bishop also claimed to have been wrongly arrested on suspicion of involvement in the Brighton bombing. In 2018, The Independent reported that, as even his own 2018 defense barrister admitted, in 1986 Russell Bishop was a semi-literate, occasional, not very successful car thief, an occasional burglar. Not a suspected IRA terrorist. 1990 abduction. He was convicted of the abduction, molestation, and attempted murder of a 7-year-old girl in the Whitehawk area of Brighton. He committed this crime on the 4th of February, 1990, and was sentenced on the 13th of December, 1990. In 2005, there was debate over whether he should be classified as mentally ill. Timeline. The 9th of October, 1986, the girls go missing. The 10th of October, 1986, the girls are found dead in Wild Park, Brighton. The 31st of October, 1986, Russell Bishop is first arrested in connection with the murders. The 3rd of December, 1986, Bishop is charged with the murders and remanded in custody to await trial during 1987. The 10th of December, 1987, after a 4-week trial, Bishop is acquitted of both murders and released. The 4th of February, 1990, Bishop arrested and charged with the abduction, indecent assault, and attempted murder of a 7-year-old girl at Devil's Dyke, East Sussex 3 days prior. He is remanded in custody to await trial later in 1990. The 13th of December, 1990, Bishop is convicted of kidnapping, indecent assault, and attempted murder. He is sentenced to life with a recommended minimum term of 14 years. July 2002, Babes in the Wood case is subjected to review and DNA profiling, but was not a success. April 2005, double jeopardy laws are changed in Britain. January 2006, forensic tests link Bishop and the Pinto sweatshirt. Autumn 2006, families of both girls are informed that there was insufficient evidence to proceed with a fresh case against Bishop. 2011 to 2012, a cold case review of the murders is conducted. 3 November 2013, a full re-investigation of forensics takes place. The 10th of May, 2016, Bishop is re-arrested. December, 2017, Bishop's acquittal is quashed. The 10th of December, 2018, Bishop is convicted of the murders. The 11th of December, 2018, Bishop is sentenced to life imprisonment with a recommended minimum term of 36 years. The 17th of May, 2021, Jennifer Johnson, Bishop's girlfriend at the time of the murders, is found guilty of perjury. The 19th of May, 2021, Johnson is sentenced to 6 years in prison. She is currently held at HMP Bronzyfield, Britain's highest security prison for women. The 20th of January, 2022, Russell Bishop dies of cancer, aged 55.